Welcome to another edition of The Appeal. I'm Justin.
I'm Sean. And Butters is over here getting food because he was late.
But yes, welcome to another edition of The Appeal. I forgot the banner.
We got busy. We're doing some new things this week. We've been kind of building towards this. Ties into the KTXF move, which we're officially official now. And we're doing some things so that way the sound from not only the mixer board that you guys can see on the camera, I'm pretty sure, but also the sound that comes through videos and things like that. All of those things actually coordinate together. And we actually hear it on the stream on the radio station on KTXF The Real. Feel free to download the TuneIn app and give it a listen. We would greatly appreciate it for sure.
Yeah. Just set time here.
Slacker.
One that doesn't go off.
Yeah. We literally got we had tested it was working, and we were using a trial version of this one program that we needed to use to get the sound to coordinate properly. And so we purchased the program, and in the process of installing it the second time it messed up, so we had to reinstall it, and that's what took so long. So we literally, like, a minute and a half before time started, we're still fiddling with things to get it back working. But we got it back working, and it is now 7 p.m. Josh is curious if we're actually going live. Are we live?
Yeah, we are live.
Are you sure we're live?
Yes.
Do we have viewers?
Yeah, I can tell you in a second when my tablet.
Oh, that'll be good.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we are coming off. Well, let me rephrase that. Hey guys, we're in the playoffs. I mean that's really the only way I can really go. I mean, we're in the playoffs. Let that sink in. I mean, it's been how long?
Josh says he doesn't see anything.
This is what, 2013?
Do you have the? Have you? Is it a new stream link?
No, it's on.
Oh.
We're live.
Yeah, there's people chatting, so yeah, we're definitely live.
Yeah.
By the way, if you are on YouTube chat, we just want you to know we love you guys. Yes, we are in the playoffs. That I said it at the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. We were going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I said I said the chances are good that we would make the playoffs. I said if we don't make the playoffs, we will be in it at the very end. And so, comes to fruition that basically exactly that happens. We actually have a chance to finish as high as third, as low as fifth, because we can't go lower than we currently are, which is great. But we'll talk about that here in a bit. But it would be great to get that third place for sure, because let's face it, third place means a home match.
Yeah.
For the play. Fourth place also does as well, which would be nice. So really, any improvement beyond our current position is a good thing.
Yeah.
But third place would mean that we would face either San Jose or one of the quote unquote beatable teams, I guess, here at home. Although really this year, let's be honest, every team has been beatable at home.
Oh yeah.
Here, I mean for us here, we've shown that we are capable of taking anybody to the woodshed.
Well,
let's not go too deep into that yet.
Yeah. So for today, we are going to go back over the SKC match, and what a match. Different opinions from a few of the players. One in particular I'll get into.
Oh, man.
We got the scores of the week, and then we'll set up the Houston-Chicago match, final home regular season match of the season.
Yes.
And then we'll bleed all that into decision day, playoffs around the league, and, of course, our playoffs, too. And then we'll do a little down the valley segment. We'll let Edson plug in his new deal.
There is something I want to throw out at the end of this show, and don't let me forget it's related to the Dash.
Oh, I thought you were going farther with that.
I said at the end of the show.
Yeah.
At the end of the show. It was something I saw today.
And then I do got one team to cover in the Texas Hoedown. The TPSL has started. So they just finished their first week.
Cool. So you had, a month break between?
Month and a half.
Yeah,
something like that.
Now you're right back to it again.
Yep. Luckily, it's only one team that I'll have to cover all the way till early next summer.
Yeah, absolutely. So. As you can see, I am wearing my Astros hat. I also want to throw out that they need to figure out how to freaking hit the damn ball, because boo. But, they're coming back home. That's all that matters.
And then some other news, MLS/US soccer related
that's
stuff.
what I meant.
I have my one.
My dash would be for the newsworthy stuff.
I have one as well.
Oh, you finally have one. You finally did your homework.
Is it RGV or?
No. Well, it is kind of USO related.
Oh, all right, cool. Intriguing. All right. Excellent. So let's get the show on the road.
Yes.
I don't care that we have more time for intro stuff. let's just roll right into it.
All right. So SKC, we
did the thing.
What a draw!
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been happier for a draw in my life.
And you know what?
Absolutely.
It's just how it came to be. Like, just like the fact that it was very, very gritty, very hard fought. That's I think that made it much better. You know, that you actually saw the players, you saw them fighting because they knew that point would clinch them to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you and I talked about that. After that match was over, that we were sitting there, and I said, I've never seen the guys with that amount of intensity and heart and determination at the end of a match. Mm-hmm. I haven't. I mean, there's been, with the exception of the one match here at home where Morrow scored that goal in the dying embers of the match to tie it up. Mm-hmm. Literally that's the only other time I've seen that. But it's just so refreshing to see. That's the mentality you need going into the playoffs. That's the mentality you need to try to go for third place. That's the mentality you need to have really throughout the entire season.
I totally bombed the intro, by the way. I meant to throw out there, Josh isn't with us again. I did want to have everybody...
People assumed that when they didn't see him.
Wish him well. Doctors don't know what the hell's wrong with him. I've heard tonsillitis, I've heard mono, I've heard everything.
I'm sure he would appreciate your thoughts and prayers.
Yes.
If you have them.
Please.
But get better, Josh. Jeez, we need you for the playoffs.
Or we can always take him to Reynosa.
I need you to keep this guy in line, so
Yeah, I need to be
Josh,
in line,
hey, Josh, push comes to shove, we can always take you to Reynosa to the doctors. Going back to SKC.
SKC, yes. I guess I'll throw it out there right now. Tyler Derrick.
Give that man a statue in front of BBVA Compass, please.
Easy man of the match.
Are you kidding me?
What was it, 9 saves?
It was more than... I mean, that was what they counted like at the end of the match, but it really felt like it was more like 30. I mean, and some of those saves, especially that goal line save where he just leaned,
the very last save of the match.
Yes,
I mean,
was that
he got the full
minute?
hand on it, and it was the one he just. I mean, he didn't palm it away. He literally grabbed and tossed it away.
Yes.
But it was all one smooth motion, and it was pretty fan-freaking-tastic.
Well, Blues fan, I'm pretty sure we all won home matches. I mean, I'm okay if we get a draw on the road, but we need wins, and wins are hard to come by. Excuse me.
Yeah, somebody had a comment about that in your player questions and interviews and things like that after practice. Somebody had a comment about that. Do you remember who it was?
I don't.
Yes, Beasley.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I see where you're going with that. Yeah, so...
Well, you started going there. I just helped you get there.
So, Beasley totally threw... I don't want to say the team under the bus, but he was very displeased with the way they played. And a couple other questions were asked. One about the World Cup qualifying, and I had to hurry up and change the tone.
What was his response to that question?
He didn't have a response. He said, "I'm not talking about the U.S." US
the tone in which he said that. I just want you to know we all feel your pain, man.
But I will post these clips since we didn't use it in tonight's show. I will post them separately on our Facebook, on the YouTube, and I'll put it on SoundCloud
Twitter
as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and then I'll put a link on Twitter.
Sure.
But then I asked him, why is it so hard for teams to win on the road in MLS? And, he actually started laughing, and I get why. Because it's an anomaly, honestly, why you can't win on the road. He said there's only a few teams that have. What is it, Toronto?
Well, like you said, it's the best teams in the league.
2-3 best teams in the league that can't.
Yeah. Consistently win on the road.
Consistently.
I mean, there are teams that'll win one match here or there on the road, but... It's the consistently winning and being able to force teams, into a totally different setup than they're used to playing or whatever it may be. It's his response was pretty pointed. He said that, and then he just kind of he joked and laughed.
Well, he even said, and I don't think DMB would BS this, but he said he's talked to other players in the league, and even they cannot figure it out why teams can't win on the road.
Think about it. Even in U.S. camp.
Yeah.
I mean, that wouldn't be hard for him to talk about those types of things. And I'm sure a lot of those veteran players that get around have probably, they've got friends across the league. You've got Dempsey, I'm sure that he's friends with, things like that. And the truth of the matter is, and I've said this all along, that, while we'd love to win on the road every match and everything like that, the statistics and the reality of the situation is you just don't. there are no teams, even Toronto, there are no teams in the league that are road teams.
No.
There are teams that can perform well on the road, but the consistency part, it's there every once in a while, but it's still very streaky. And so the teams that succeed in the postseason, they're not necessarily road teams. It's teams that understand that on the road, you're playing for a draw on the road.
Yeah.
You go out there wanting to win. You go out there wanting to notch that first goal because you're going to force the other team to give you opportunities on the counter, which we'll go into this in a bit, why I think the Dynamo actually stand a very good chance in the playoffs. Especially if they, if they get that play-in match here and then we turn around and we are the lower or the higher seeds so that we have to then or lower seeds that we then have to whatever. Anyways,
yeah.
But the point was
we'll get
made,
into how all this will play out.
Yeah, the point was made by DMB that, you know what, if you figure that out, if you have the answer to that question, then we can find you a job in the league. I mean, that's very true. It's not an anomaly for teams to lose on the road. In fact, it's very common. It's just home. If you're a betting person, you are always going to come out on the positive end season to season if you bet on the home team match in and match out. Now I'm saying straight up. I'm not talking spread because it's a totally different situation. But when we're talking home team versus away team, who wins the most, and even including draws, the more likely scenario is that the home team wins. And so, I say all that simply to say that it's good to keep it in mind. It's good to keep it in perspective. Yeah, we sucked on the road this year, but guess what? So did a lot of other teams. Yeah. That's very common. You can, as we have now shown, make the playoffs with a team that is not very good on the road, but is very good at home. If you do what you have to do at home, it makes the rest of your job a lot easier. You can afford to throw a few losses on the road. You can afford to lose a few points on the road if you are taking as many points as possible at home. Keep in mind, we've also had 2 or 3 matches here at home that we had opportunities to win, and we gave up the last, not last-minute goals, but we gave up goals that, hurt our chances to be able to win the match. And so, I wanted to reflect on that for a minute because now that we're getting to the end of the season, I mean, we literally are at the end of the season. That was a question that was constantly asked and something that was constantly harped on by other people, something that was constantly thrown about, we need to win this match on the road. We have to win this match on the road. We've got to be better on the road. And I kept saying to everybody, keep it in perspective. It's important to keep it in perspective because at the end of the day, if you do what you need to do at home, you are going to succeed in MLS.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went on a major rant there.
No, that's Wilmer haters. That hashtag William haters or Wilmer, excuse me. Andreas. Yeah, I don't get that. I am not a hater.
I'm not a hater of
him
Wilmer
at all.
Are you kidding me? I came into this season saying Wilmer was the right person in charge.
I was probably pessimistic and a little hard on him, but I am not a hater by any stretch. It was one of those.
Well, there was a lot of pieces and a lot of pieces that had to come together. A lot of things, a lot of chemistry things that were unknown. We didn't know how players were going to play well together, if they were going to play well together. And we had no clue with Tomas at the beginning of the season. I mean, he came in halfway, and I do want to point something out about him that's really good. So there's a lot of these things, and the reason we're talking about these types of things is because we're hitting the end of the season. We're going to obviously go a lot more in depth into this stuff when we hit the off season after playoffs, after we hoist the MLS Cup. But in the meantime, we want to bring these things up because do you realize that where we came from to where we are now?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, okay, we got about 3 more minutes till we take our first break. And then when we'll get back, we'll talk about lineups.
Good, because I need a refill on water. No beer, by the way, this week.
No.
He's got a back problem, and he brought the beer last week. And
yeah.
I mean, I've got alcohol, but it's Mike's hard, so I'm not about to pull that
Actually, I might be okay with that. Maybe I'll numb it a little bit.
No, not the painkillers you're on.
That's Wade Barrett for manager. Get out of here, Racker.
Troll.
But I mean, okay, let's play devil's advocate here. I mean, obviously, I want the team to make it deep. I want them to make an extremely deep run.
Of course. Mm-hmm. Do you really? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Continue. Well, financially, that's a totally different question.
Well, yeah. Yeah, we did talk about that.
Hypothetically, what if they bombed out of the playoffs? All right, first game. I'm not saying they get blown out. Okay, hold on.
Well, I'm going to help your scenario. Okay. Let's say that we end up in 5th place. Let's say that we draw Chicago. We get 5th place. We end up playing SKC. We go to KC and we lose on the road.
Okay. Do you still consider this season a success compared to the last 3. I mean, from this point, anywhere up or anywhere from here, it's got to be better.
Absolutely. I mean, come on. We're finishing not only above the playoff line, we're finishing above Dallas. Say what you will.
Yeah, no, that's a win in any case.
We've hit, and not only that, if things continue to go the way they are, we don't have to worry about the cannon because we won't have to ever worry about Dallas in the playoffs for this year anyways. So you got Dallas. You got the Dallas situation. They're sucking, and it's great. Love it, love it, love it. I'm sure everybody else does. Sorry, Frisco. My bad. And then you consider where we were at the end of last year. We were 2 losses away from the wooden spoon.
Yeah.
That's last place in MLS. We're in 5th place in the West, pushing into playoffs to even get a higher seed.
Yeah.
With a match still to go. I mean, what more can you ask for one season over the next?
Yeah. So we're going to pause this conversation.
Yes, because it's break.
We're going to pause.
Sorry, it's totally.
We're going to come back. We're going to do lineups. We'll talk more about the match.
How long is this break going to be?
Minute 30.
Sweet.
Yes. So Sean, where can they find us?
You can find us on YouTube, and I've tweeted out the YouTube link. You can find us on SoundCloud after this is over. You can find us on iTunes and Google Play Music, and you can also find us via the TuneIn app on KTXF DB The Real, a Texas sports review network radio station online via the TuneIn app. And you can also find us on Twitter at ThePeel05. You can find us on Facebook at ThePeel2005 and some other places as well. You can also call in. We are taking phone calls this week, 281-849-7335. That number again is 281-849-7335.
All right.
Hi, I'm Andrew Wenger, and you're listening to The Peel.
We're back. Welcome back to The Peel on KTXF.
We do want to throw an apology out there. Since we were so busy before, we didn't order food. So we're currently chowing down as we're in break. So pardon if we come back a little late from a break because we're probably stuffing our faces. Those fries are going to be gone shortly.
That's fine. If your dog eats these fries, he has balls. Just saying. But yeah, before we went on break, we were talking about the SKC match.
I want to see him do it because it'll be on video
He's
too.
sitting, he's like, hey.
Look at me, I'm doing everything you asked. Oh, by the way, we got a dog.
The lineup was a question mark at first. Not with the players that he selected. It was just where he selected the players.
Yeah.
Of course, you had Derek and Net, Beasley, Leonardo, Machado, AJ Dean, just back line.
Your standard starting back line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your mid was Cabeza Clark.
And
above them, Alex, Tomas, and Elise. Is how it's formed down on here.
Yeah.
And then you're up top. You had Kubo.
Yeah. You said your mids, and I was confused. I was like, they're also playing mids, but okay.
Yeah, but it was weird. You had like 2 midfielders, and then it was an attacking diamond with the midfielder.
So here's the thing, right? This is the preferred formation. This is what they prefer to do, which is to have 2 DMs.
Yep.
And I am totally okay with this formation. I like the concept. I like the premise.
# Dynafood. That's what Andreas said.
What did he say?
Hashtag Dynafood.
Dynafood, yeah. This has now become a Dynafood podcast. By the way, Jack's Burgers in Pearland, on point. But this is their preferred formation. That's actually what they ran a lot last year. Yeah. Even though it was always advertised as a 4-4-1-1 or whatever, they typically ended up in a 4-2-3-1 kind of, or a 4-2-2-2, formation. But the reason why I really like it, and the reason why I actually like seeing it in this match, is because right now your midfielders are really your power in this club, in this team. You've got Kubo and you've got Morrow up top, but outside of them, you're reliant upon Elise and Kyoto to really generate offense.
Yeah.
This lineup, switching to this formation, to this style of play, it unlocks Tomas, and we saw it.
Yeah.
I mean, he still needs to connect with a few of those extra passes and those sorts of things, but he's starting to find those, and the more he finds those and the more they find those in the playoffs, this team is going to be a very hard out.
Yeah. I was bringing up some other stats. I wasn't displeased with the match like DMB was. I thought that the team played well. They bounced back. It was definitely a back and forth match to begin with.
I think, and I said this to you, I think that he kind of felt like the team had an opportunity to win that match. And I think that's why he's disappointed. They didn't win the match. They didn't come out necessarily firing as hard and as, with the same intensity they've come out with in other matches. And I feel like that's why he kind of said that, listening to his remarks. I also think that it maybe was an opportunity for him to maybe put a little bit of pressure on some guys, positive pressure, good pressure. And so, I don't have a qualm with anything that he said. And frankly, watching that match, it was kind of frustrating because there were, we had our opportunities on goal and we couldn't find the net.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really where his frustration comes from. And I think we've seen that in other matches too, especially on the road. And that's got to change. It does have to change. We need to find the net on the road. But as long as we're as long as we're creating those chances on the road, that's what I'm looking for. And we did create those chances, even if KC held the bulk of everything. We created the chances. We snuffed out a lot of their offense. They still had opportunities. I think the one play of the match that I'll remember that wasn't a Tyler Derrick save was when the ball crossed the mouth of goal off a cross from SKC cross from Blessing out wide, and it went across the mouth of goal, and two center backs missed it. Tyler couldn't get to it, and it was literally just a reactionary kick out from AJ that deflected the ball out of bounds. Yeah. And in other instances, those balls he didn't get to. AJ was not able to prevent the cross from getting to his man, but and he was on his man. He saw that cross coming before it came, and he got in position. And so the reason why that's important is because those were the types of plays the defense was making all game, all match. They were getting there when they could and when they were able. Now, that's not to say KC didn't have opportunities in front of goal. There were a few of those as well.
Yeah. But
just like we struggle, sometimes in front of goal, they also can struggle in front of goal. That's what happens when you have rookies. It's what happens when you have younger guys.
Yeah.
We, for the most part, we basically made Zusi a non-factor, which was great. Which, by the way, that was an interesting situation because I thought he was serving a red card. But he must have been available, I guess, for this last match.
He was on
a suspension.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And that since he was in the 18,
he was in the 18 for U.S. Soccer, that he should have still been suspended, but he wasn't suspended.
But
so I don't
this
get
is
that.
MLS.
No, I'm well aware. It's just it's those types of things. Speaking of, it's those types of things that continue to frustrate me about MLS. You can't pick and choose who gets the benefit from each, from this, and who doesn't get the benefit from this. I mean, we've seen the effect of that across other sports, and I think we'll continue to see it in MLS. And there's a picture going around of an incident that happened in that match between Tomas and Espinosa, and Espinosa was fined for hands to the throat. Mm-hmm. And it was very clear in the picture, this is hands to the throat. There have been Dynamo players suspended for the exact same action, for the exact same outcome, for the exact same amount of force.
Yeah.
And I just don't get it. I realize it's the end of the season, but it shouldn't matter what part of the season you're in. If a player does that, you need to have the exact same discipline throughout the entire season. You need to have the exact same discipline no matter who they play for. You need to have the exact same discipline no matter who they are. And unfortunately, MLS has proven to be extremely inconsistent when it comes to the disciplinary committee. And I think, it really does come down to this. It's the end of the season. They want, the better players available because that's going to be the biggest draw both on TV and in person in stadiums. But it's just frustrating as a fan of the league, as a fan of soccer in general, to continue to see these types of inconsistent, calls and non-calls and disciplinary actions and what have you. It just seems short-sighted. It seems like they continue to slight the Dynamo, but of course other teams have been slighted as well. Mm-hmm. But that was another one of those things that just needed to be called out.
Just the fact, like a couple weeks ago, they through VAR they gave Kaká a red for playing around with his friend who played for the Red Bulls. Yeah, he did put his hand to the face, but it was it was all playful. But they called VAR and they're like, oh, we're gonna give you a red card. And yet you see something worse because this was actually like Espinoza was actually going, to harm Tomas Martinez. And one, they didn't call VAR. Two, they after the match, that's when they found out about it through that picture. And we're just gonna, and we go again using the term slap in the wrist. To Espinoza for that.
So what were your overall grade if you had to give it one on this match? And going into this week. Excuse me.
On this match, if you had asked me what my grade, my grade for this match would probably be a 7.5 out of 10. So basically a C. Not a B, not an A, not a D, not an F. I felt that it was a for the majority of the match, it was decently defended. But it also felt like we didn't take our chances, which is why the 7.5. If I was giving player ratings, there's no doubt in my mind that Tyler Derrick gets a 9.5, and the only reason he doesn't get a 10 is because he didn't score a goal, but that's not his job.
And that fact that he can't score a goal, they also going back with FIFA. So they kind of going on a little bit off topic. But they released the team of the week for FIFA. For a whole FIFA. So apparently, Alessandrini gets a team of the week card, but Tyler Derrick doesn't. And I know Andrew, you told me that's because he didn't score a hat trick. That's the only reason why a player from a team that's not LA Galaxy would get a card.
I'm pretty sure he was joking around, but that it feels true at many times. It really does.
But and he also says right now that rules don't apply when the teams play the Dynamo. Sean, that's what Andrew told me.
It's true.
But
it's the reality of the situation. And so I'm going to throw this out there just to kind of piggyback on your comment. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the Dynamo 11 versus 14 players. Mm-hmm. It really is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you're going into the playoffs, you can't worry about that. You have to go into the playoffs. You have to play your style. You have to play your game, and refs be damned. I mean, you can't control that. You can't, change it. You can't, There's no advantage to be gained for you by trying to point it out or trying to make it a big deal. You're just going to end up fined, or you're going to end up suspended for, MLS probably would suspend somebody from our team for calling out the refs. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm gonna give a shout out to the refs. At least they were better than Fotis.
Well, that's a really low bar. But on my grade to the Dynamo would actually be I'd give it a 7 flat, and the reason is, especially when it comes to the defense, we did hold the clean sheet, but that was all Tyler Derrick. You cannot allow the attackers to have so many chances in front of Tyler Derrick, because he had the best match of the whole season, but that's not gonna be happening all the time where Tyler Derrick is on his game. So
I'm gonna, and I know we're kind of running up against a break here, but you said you can't allow that to happen in front of Derek. You can't allow that to happen as as defenders or as defense or team or whatever. But the reality is, this is MLS, and that is common. It's way more common than I think people realize. That the focus having been so long on attack and on high-powered attack, it is very difficult to run into a team that is not capable of having chances in front of goal, regardless of how good your defense is. And so I just wanted to harp on that for a second because it's important. It is important because I've had people say that, and I've had to do the same thing.
So when we get back, we'll go over the scores.
How long is this break? How long do I have to chat
minute
on
30.
food? Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Our big break's not till the top of the hour.
Okay.
When we get back, we'll do scores of the week, and then we'll transition that into decision day, what needs to happen for us, and then we'll talk about the rest of the playoffs.
And you're listening to The Peel on KTXF DB, The Real on... KT. You're listening to The Peel on KTXF DB, The Real, a Texas sports review radio network radio station. That is so confusing. You can listen to us via TuneIn. You can listen to us on YouTube and later on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play Music.
There you go.
I'm Brad Davis, and you're listening to The Peel.
Welcome back to The Peel.
What's up?
God, that food really is good.
No, we haven't even tried the burger, dude.
I'm telling you.
All right. So, see. Andreas is talking about the crew already. Just wait. We'll talk about that.
Oh, no, we're going to get to that. Don't worry.
Yeah. And, of course, the first score of the weekend that I wanted to go over, because it was the first game. Nikolic scored a hat trick against Andre Blake. Mm-hmm. I don't put that on him. I put that on the back line because that back line is absolute garbage. Mm-hmm. But they did beat the Chicago Fire.
Keep going.
Okay. They did beat the Chicago Fire beat the Union 3-2. New England beat NYCFC 2-1. New York and Atlanta United drew 0-0. Orlando City and Kaka's final home match dropped 3 points to Columbus Crew 1-0. Toronto
Beat Montreal 1-0.
Beat Montreal 1-0. And they tied the MLS points record, and they have a chance to take the points record all time of all time this weekend. Colorado took on Salt Lake and beat them 1-0. SKC and us drew. LA Galaxy picked up 3 goals and 3 points against Minnesota United. Seattle Sounders destroyed FC Dallas 4-0. Dallas didn't have a shot.
Fuck Frisco.
And it was funny. I saw a tweet real quick. As I was watching the game. You're like, you guys kind of want Dallas to win, right? No. Under no circumstances ever would I ever want Frisco to win anything. Next game.
Newsflash person, we didn't need Dallas to win.
Vancouver Whitecaps and San Jose drew 1-1. Portland Timbers destroyed DC United. What's new? 4-0. Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to say something. You looked like you had a thought.
No, I was reading stuff.
Oh.
Sorry, I had to switch to the hat of a winner. We only wear winner hats around here.
What was the final?
5-0. It didn't generate a run at all.
Oh, man. Gosh. What's going on?
Come on, but they're coming back to Houston, so that's fine.
Yeah. I mean,
And I'm going to that match.
It works out. Yeah. I was looking on here. So, where'd the schedule go? Stall. I'm looking for you. I saw it on here and I can't find it.
So how was work?
No. We are taking on Chicago.
Without
Sunday.
Schweinsteiger.
Yes, without Schweinsteiger.
That was incredibly solid German. I'm impressed.
I tried to learn a little bit.
How much Bundesliga did you have to watch before you could pronounce that right?
Not really. Not really. It's because there's actually this video going around where this German guy, he completely teaches everybody that they've been saying the German names all wrong.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? Yeah.
Yeah, like Schweinsteiger and Rasenball.
Yeah.
It's not Red Bull Leipzig. It's Rasenball Leipzig. So, anyways.
Yeah, that was nice German lesson there.
Yeah, that's great. It's just like my French class that I took in high school. I won't remember anything.
So
5
you
seconds
literally paid no attention, and the only difference is you don't have a drink right now.
No. Luckily, there's no suspensions. I'm looking at injuries. Bear with me. This computer's being slow.
There shouldn't be any injuries other than Memo.
For them, everybody else is out. That's
Out?
right here. No, not everybody. Schweinsteiger is going to be out with a right thigh injury.
He was tired from.
We are starting a new segment that we will roll with the rest of the postseason and next year. Because we're also looking for sponsors, so we need a sponsor for this segment.
You shouldn't tell him. You should tell the camera.
Well, I'm just talking in general.
If you are watching and you do happen to know someone that owns a business and would like an opportunity to sponsor us, just throw that out there. We do take sponsorships.
Carson said it was all last when the Indians lost him, too.
Yeah, well. Carson, next time I see you, I might have some choice words for you, buddy.
So, know your enemy, the Chicago Fire. We have played them a total of 23 times. 9 wins, 6 losses, 8 draws, plus 5 goal difference.
This is the part where you guys can tune out and finish eating your dinner.
Damn, bro. God.
Are you going to throw out percentages from?
No, I wasn't going to bring that up today, you tool. They do currently sit third in the Eastern Conference. They have locked up position. They will be battling for seeding.
They have not. Well, they've locked up. Yeah, they've locked up the playoffs.
They're battling for seeding. They currently sit on 55 points with a record of 16, 10, and 7. Let's see. On the road, they are only 4-8-4. So helps us out a little bit.
That's still better than us on the road.
Yeah, well,
but the good news is we're home.
A lot of people are.
Yeah, well, you know.
You know what they say.
Beggars can't be choosers.
This is also correct. I should have had all those open.
Yeah, you really should have, because these are awkward silence moments. It's great.
At home here at BBVA and the former Robertson. 11 matches, 5 wins, 2 losses, 4 draws, plus 4 goal difference. So, not bad at all. Not too shit.
Not a surprise, though. We've always been good at home. I mean, with the exception of last year. But last year feels like one of those just aberration years.
It's the ones you just really want to forget.
Yeah.
Damn, Andres, tell me how you really feel about pre-court. It's not in YouTube chat. It's in Discord.
I'm not going to do that as much as I want to.
What?
On the YouTube chat.
Oh, yeah.
Nikolic, he's leading the league and he's leading the team, obviously, in 24 goals. You also got to watch out for David Acom. He leads with 8 assists on the team.
Yeah.
And then I had the league stats too where they fell in there, but I closed it.
Who cares?
Yeah.
So
What are you thinking about?
You started
this
out really great for your Know Your Enemy segment.
Boy,
didn't you though? What are my thoughts on the upcoming match? We're gonna win. No, my thoughts are this. Number one, if Elise and Kyoto don't start, it's a travesty.
I don't see any scenario where they don't.
Injuries in practice do happen. Knock on the freaking wood of this table. Thank you. Because, boy, I tell you what, if one of them came down with an injury, they are all coming after you. Ooh, boy. But seriously.
Blink Justin. Hashtag blink Justin.
Well, everything else is. Kyoto and Elise should both start. Tomas should start. I want to say Morrow should start, but we'll probably see Kubo start. And I'm not exactly opposed to that right now. I feel like he's the right type of player that we need there for the moment. And I like having Morrow come on as a super sub late as well. Mm-hmm. And I do love Vicente Sanchez coming on late as well. Yeah. Those two paired up together is just it's phenomenal. And I also, of course, want to see Cabeza start. I'm so glad he's back to full health. And then outside of that, I really don't care who starts the other midfield spot. I hope it's Rico because I want to see the 2 D mid again. I think that works out best for coverage for defense. And I don't know how much it really matters who plays along the back line. As long as it's, there's a gnat. Just one single freaking gnat that floats around the dining room table. But there's 2 things to me that are really important. One, Chicago are also a counterattacking team, so I feel like they're going to sit back and they're going to absorb our pressure. The problem is, anytime a team has done that, we've struggled tremendously. Yeah. We've struggled mightily. And so I feel like this is going to be one of those matches that we're going to have to scrap a goal late, and I'm okay with that, as long as we scrap that goal late. The real problem is that we're going to be sitting there as fans for 80 minutes, just like biting our nails, waiting and hoping for a goal, and then it's gonna, if it happens, it's gonna happen in the very final dying minutes of the match. Yeah. That's my thoughts.
Well, because the seating, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say
nobody cares what you were gonna say. No, you can go.
You're
ahead.
just butters.
Just kidding.
So my problem is what you're mentioning, that Chicago Fire will want to stay back and counterattack. We've seen it, especially against Colorado. Mm-hmm. Where when they sat back and gave us the possession, we couldn't do anything about it because our players, for the most part, aren't possession players. Yeah. Now,
with the exception of Tomas.
Now, what better than having players that have proven themselves with the possession-based tactics that under Wilmer Cabrera, like Charlie Ward, might want to give him a shot. As a sub, maybe. Yeah. See how the starters, your regular starters, do. If the Chicago Fire hits back, I mean, we've seen it. We saw him at home at an SKC. He was on the bench, so he is available to play when we need him.
Absolutely.
And if you need somebody that can give really great passes like Charlie Ward, that is able to maintain possession, Why not give him a shot? I mean, it is the last game of the season. You've clinched playoffs. I mean, yes, we're trying to find a higher seed, but I mean, if you need someone that is going to be comfortable with that tactic, might as well just use him.
And I'm going to say something that's probably going to throw a lot of people off, but I would actually start him right now over Rico in this situation.
But you just said you want Rico in that.
Well, yeah, but the more I think about it, the more I want Ward there, because Ward is better at the pivot, and he's quicker at the pivot. And Rico struggles at the pivot, not to get the ball moving, but he struggles doing it quickly. It's a very slow pivot for him.
I had something legit, and then somebody says the cure for all woes is more Sanchez.
That's actually not untrue. That's very true, actually.
But Brian Page wants to know, was there any reason for Kyoto not starting in KC? And I think it was just rest. He wanted to rest his guys a little bit. He just came off.
It wasn't injury. It was rest.
Yeah, he just came off playing most of the minutes for Honduras.
Yes.
So.
And let it be known, he didn't say anything to. I mean,
yes, I meant that
he gave a little prodding, note about the match, the U.S. versus Honduras match. That's what he was talking. That's what he said. But it wasn't like a dig. It was just it was a gentle.
No, actually, what it boiled down to, and I don't think did I load that clip up?
You did.
Yeah, it was more of, I guess, Graham wanted more space on the corner kick, and Kyoto was warming up.
Yeah.
And now there was probably a little bit of jarring, but I don't think it was.
Oh no, I mean that's what I'm saying. It wasn't like it wasn't meant to be a dig or anything. I mean, it was just a you probably could have used more space.
Yes.
I think what he probably said was something to the effect of you probably could have used more space against Trinidad and Tobago too, huh?
Probably.
And to be fair, I wouldn't have blamed him for using it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and go on break. Again, we're gonna go on break. We'll come back. We'll do seeding. We'll do the teams that made it. That will take us to the top of the hour.
Yep.
And we'll take a long break. Finish on with the show.
Hour and a half plus this week.
2 hours, officially.
Oh right, I got to scroll back up for the other 30 minutes. Don't
Yeah.
I? Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we're here, so I don't care.
Where can they find us, Sean?
You can find us on. You can find us via the TuneIn app on KTXF DB The Real, a Texas sports review radio network, and on YouTube, and on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play Music.
There you go.
I'm hungry.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Remick, you're listening to The Peel.
Welcome back to the Peel.
That was some good Spanish, eh?
It was, 3 numbers that I did backwards in Spanish? I won't even pat myself on the back on that. I mean, I could do the same thing with French. So, that's about
That's
all
more than I can do.
Hashtag where is Megan? I don't know. She disappeared on the feed.
Oh.
Yeah. No, she didn't disappear in real life.
I was like, when the hell did she get here? Damn it, Butters, I told you to lock the door. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
All right. So to talk about the playoff seeding, we'll run through the East real quick because who cares? Toronto locked up their position very, 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 very early. Won the supporter shield, all that good stuff. So they do also lock up a first round bye along with New York. Well, not along with New York City FC. This is what Chicago has to play for. So it's our first spots 2, 3, 4, 5, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. All have a spot or chance to make the second seed. Columbus most likely out of it because I think they're out of it on goal difference anyway. So actually, that would probably just boil down to Atlanta, Chicago, and New York City. No, false. It's only Chicago and New York. Mm-hmm. Goal difference. Chicago has to win, or New York has to win. If they lose, if they lost, they'd be knocked down anyway. Chicago can draw or win, and then they'll lock up second place, as long as New York doesn't draw or lose, or New York could draw or lose. No, actually,
If you followed all that,
yeah, New York.
congratulations, because I didn't.
Chicago can draw and then still overtake New York because they're sitting at 55 points, 17 goal difference. Yeah, that's the way it's looking. But Chicago does have something to play for. And then the other teams, you got Columbus Crew and New York Red Bulls. Uh-oh.
I knew that was going to happen.
Puppy training problems. So Edson.
Yeah, Edson, you're here. Come clean this shit up.
And then in the West, we have Chicago, Portland, Seattle, Sporting, and the Dynamo, San Jose, FC Dallas, and Real Salt Lake could all fight for that final spot. Let's hope that it's not Dallas. What are your thoughts about the playoffs? Does Dallas make it?
I don't think they'll make it, and I hope they don't make it.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
I don't think anybody really wants to see them make it. Now, honestly, I would not be mad if we got to the third spot and had to play them here as them being the fifth seed, because I don't see that cannon going anywhere.
Well, I want to see him continue to lose, to be totally honest.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, would you really be totally pissed off if you got to play them as the third seed here in Houston?
Not really, no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, to watch that pain and agony of defeat on an FC Frisco's face, Frisco player's face. Yeah.
Maybe their fans can travel and throw streamers and we can ban them.
Doubt it.
Oh, that's right. We don't ban for streamers because we actually care about our fans.
Yep.
We're not salty.
Not at all.
Boy,
I see
that Nats really likes Justin.
It's so funny, too, because I can see the little thing fly in front of him because of where the lights are. It's pretty funny.
Anyway, so depending on how this weekend goes, we will either play the 25th or the 26th. I wish they'd have a date. But they don't.
That is technically a
yes,
date.
but I wish it was...
It would either be Wednesday or Thursday. So basically,
Yes.
here's the way this is going to work. We're going to close out this week on Sunday, and we will let you know after Sunday whether we are recording on Wednesday or recording on Thursday.
Yes. Ooh.
Or Tuesday.
Yeah, I was going to say, what about... I mean, we'd have to talk to Josh. What about a Tuesday right before a playoff?
They could still be sick for all we know, too.
That's true.
Hopefully not.
No, I hope he gets better. He already said he's not going to be able
I mean,
to
if we,
this weekend.
if we do playoffs on Wednesday, then, I mean, I don't think any of us are going to miss that playoff match, so it'd have to be a Thursday or Tuesday. I mean, let's all right. Let's just get the third seed. Dynamo, just get the third seed so that we don't have to worry about this.
Yes. Callowis says, you guys set off a smoke bomb in our city? That's a 4,000 match ban, and no one is ever allowed to touch our stuff anymore. Will we have a night game? Yes. Playoff games are all night games, correct?
Huh.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, they don't play midday.
No. Thank God.
We're not the MLB.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that.
Dumb.
That's for the soon-to-be Astros show that I hope KTXF gets.
Well, they had one. Now they're... Anyways, we're...
Yeah.
Off topic. Sorry, that was my fault. I do
Okay.
that.
Bring
That's
back
why we
Josh.
need Josh. That's why we need Josh.
Megan says bring back Josh. Well, tell Josh to get better, and we wouldn't have to worry about this.
Go feed him chicken noodle soup.
All right, so we're going to get back on track. We got 3 minutes till we take our break at the top of the hour. That's a hard break. We can't pass that one.
Okay.
That's what they call it in the radio business.
Yeah, I know. By the way, if you want to call in, it's 281-849-7339.
Yes, I will open up the phone line. I'll throw the number
Oh,
up
has it
on the
not
phone.
been opened?
Well,
Wow.
I typically throw the number up on the screen.
Oh,
okay.
I got you.
Yeah.
I follow. The phone line is now open. You may call. We are waiting your calls.
Yes, so I'll throw that up there. You can get in
Can't
line.
taste good, dog.
We'll get you in line. We'll have Edson answer the phone.
No.
He'll set you up.
No.
Racker says Josh is in Austin with pre-court.
Oh. That is lame.
It was.
That was a really bad troll attempt, Gabe. I expect more from you.
Prediction, real quick. We got about a minute. Prediction on Chicago match.
I'm going to say this because they always do better when I predict bad. So I'm going to say 1-0 Chicago.
1-0 Chicago.
I'm trying to use that reverse prediction psychology.
Oh, is that what it is? Edson.
2-0 Dynamo.
2-0 Dynamo.
Right on.
I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1 Dynamo. Yeah. I don't see how they don't win. Chicago, they're going to be down Schweinsteiger, and the only player we have to really worry about shutting down is Nikolic. That's really about it.
Yeah.
So, when we get back from the break, we'll talk a little more playoffs. We will open up
a calm.
Yeah, and a calm.
All right. Come on. Hurry
yeah.
up. Yeah.
And then we'll talk playoffs. We'll talk some other stuff. We'll do down in the valley, all that good stuff. We'll set up schedules.
Yep. You're listening to KTXF. Sorry, you're listening to the Peel on KTXF DV The Real, a Texas Sports Review radio network. Download two.
Remick, you're listening to the Peel.
Ow. Welcome back to the Peel. Yes, Blues fan. Agam might start. He is not listed on the injury list, and I did not see him on the suspension list.
Yeah, he's not on either. He's likely to start, actually.
Sorry, I had to get a drink of water.
So if someone had 2 minutes on break and didn't spend any of it taking a drink.
That's because I was eating fries.
We were also eating.
We forgive you.
It's okay.
What are we supposed to be talking about this segment?
Seating?
Yes, that's right. Do you have it up? Because you said you were
No,
gonna do
it wasn't saved. Yeah, it sucks because I had it and I don't know what MLS did with it. It was on their page.
Well, I can tell you this much.
There we go. I got it.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
Good. What were you gonna say?
No, you're good. If you've got it up, that's what counts.
All right. This is if the playoffs started right now. There we go. Like I said, Toronto and NYCFC would have the first round bye.
You didn't make any graphics so that people could see this instead of you having to tell them?
No, because I can't pull graphics off of MLS's website to put them on here.
I gotta teach you how to do that.
I can share the website, but then it just looks like crap on the screen.
No, I was gonna say you can do. We'll talk later.
Yeah.
We'll tech talk later.
Chicago, which right now is currently holding the 3rd seed, would play the 6th seed New York Red Bulls on the 25th or the 26th. And then Atlanta, the 4th seed, would end up playing the 5th seed Columbus Crew. Same days. Now moving over to the West, the one that matters. Vancouver and Portland would have the first round bye. Excuse me. Seattle and San Jose.
Sorry.
3rd seed and 6th seed. And then the 4th seed and the 5th seed, which would be the Dynamo, would be the 26th, 27th, or 25th, 26th as well. So, whatever.
Sorry, my cousin shared this video on Facebook, and I happen to be scrolling through it. And it's the one where the guy catches a spider, but before he catches the spider jumps at the screen. So it caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting. Sorry, I had to explain why I jumped just randomly out of the blue. Oh, yeah, that's why.
I was like, wow, you're a little girl. Don't worry, I am when it comes to spiders and snakes.
No, it wasn't the spider. It was the act of suddenly something jumping at the screen and just not realizing that's what. Yeah, exactly. It was the
Josh has chimed in. Hashtag Josh is dying in bed.
Josh, you can't die. We need you to balance out the show.
Yeah. I can't work with these schools. I mean, I can work with him. You.
Because I'm Butters.
Look, okay. What you guys don't see is how much ribbing I give him off air. Because, man, I do not let up on him whatsoever.
Yeah. It's
And, you know, that only really happens when Josh isn't here. So you need Josh for that benefit, too.
Callis asked, but has Wilmer realized Sanchez is the golden goat and figured out he deserves more time? He's gotten so many chances created, it's ridiculous. The only thing is Sanchez cannot play a full 90.
No, he knows that. So, well, actually, I think here's going to be the kicker. I think he can go 60 to 75. What are you doing, dog? He can go 60 to 75 because he's done it, actually, this season already.
Yeah.
He can go 60 to 75. Here's the kicker. Did Wilmer know that he was going to have Sanchez be at this level? Maybe not quite, but he knew what he was getting in Sanchez. He knew. He's coached him before. But keep in mind, Wilmer said at the very beginning of the season that he was basically holding him and keeping him on limited minutes so that he could have his time at the end of the season, you know, so that because he was an older player. And I think we're seeing the benefit of that. And it does make me wonder if we're going to maybe see some of this start happening a little bit more in MLS, too. If other teams maybe pick up on this as, hey, we can bring in an older player that, you know, could be a DP if it wasn't for the fact of their age, you know, has the technical ability, that sort of thing, as a super sub. Because he's hella cheap.
Well, yeah, and Sanchez is one of those. He's outside of my anger against bringing these older players in because I don't want to see that in MLS.
No, I don't either. I'm just curious. I think we maybe see some additional teams start to try to do that.
Yeah,
because it's cheap.
I mean, it is, but I don't want to see a 38-year-old Ronaldo coming to MLS. Like I don't want to see that. I'd rather see him.
Can he still score free kicks at that point?
Probably, but
he struggled with free kicks recently. So, but
I don't want to see a 40-year-old Mueller out there either.
But the thing is,
the Germans are fun.
But how long can you hold this? I mean, as it is, even though statistically it's wrong, but they still keep on calling MLS the retirement league. So, getting all these older players, Sanchez is doing so good, right now. But could it be that he's the exception to the rule?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree with you. I just think that we still, I mean, it doesn't matter if he's the exception to the rule and if other teams realize that. They don't care. They're still going to try and see. Because, I mean, you're out $70,000 on the salary cap with this player, right? So if he doesn't work out, you're out $70,000.
Yeah.
That's less than a player, and that's less than a mediocre player in the league. So, I mean, why not take a shot? I mean, sign one. If he doesn't work, you dump him at the end of the season, move on to the next guy. I mean, it's another opportunity for MLS franchises to maximize the salary budget. I did see, just while we're on salary budgets, even though this is completely, away from what you're talking about, I did see that there's a rumor report out that says that that MLS is considering increasing the TAM budget to $1.5 million for next year.
I think it's kind of one of those, they kind of have to. And I think it should be an every other year type deal because you have to grow. And unless you want to be a feeder league for the rest of the world, you have to increase that a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Which honestly, and this is my honest opinion, I wouldn't have a problem with MLS playing that role as a feeder league. Pump up your academies.
Yeah.
Because it helps U.S. men's soccer. Mm-hmm. It helps the rest of the world too, and it also helps with exposure of MLS to the rest of the world. And then everybody won't end up being, oh well, MLS is garbage.
Can't be a retirement league when you're raising up younger players.
Yes, and I had seen I think it was on United States of Soccer, if I remember correctly. That's where they were talking about it, and it's one of those. you know, if you start as, say, a developmental league, essentially, for the rest of the world, you're still going to be bringing money in. And then gradually you will also be making your league better because you're pumping a ton of money into it. And then at some point you can sign these younger stars and then become a viable league, maybe third, fourth, fifth in the world, you know? But it's a slower process. Mm-hmm. But I also don't think they should have a problem with growing the league as a developmental type deal right now. You know, because Joseph Martinez is good enough to play overseas. Christian Ramirez is good enough to play overseas. Some of these younger guys, I mean, look at Eric Palmer Brown. He has a contract now in Man City. You have
Kevin Walker Peters.
Him. You have
that's the only reason.
What's Alphonso Davies?
Yeah,
definitely should not be playing in MLS.
No,
you know. Then again, I don't know any other Canadian that's that good overseas. Canada doesn't get that much exposure anyway.
Well, you know, Canada's a lot like Honduras. I mean, the MLS is really what they're striving for. It's not, you know,
Josh,
that's their top level.
I'm going to need you to go back to sleep. He said, # bring Rooney to MLS when he's 50.
Seems legit.
Gonna be in a wheelchair.
We got about 7 minutes till we go back on our next break.
Are you done with all the scenarios?
That's all that was up there right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know there's more in-depth ones.
Yeah,
I can't search it right
Can
now.
we talk a little bit about this whole Columbus Crew?
That is
ordeal?
at the end of the show after.
Yeah, that's going to take more than
segment.
5 minutes. I'm going to definitely need more. Okay.
Because I have my.
You know,
my
I actually wanted to use this to talk a little bit. You mentioned about having all these players move to Europe. I was reading an article. I'm not sure. This article was written because one of the, you know how Jermaine Jones went live last week?
Earlier this week, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, he dissed players
MLS.
like Jordan Morris.
Yeah.
Because he mentioned that Jordan Morris and all these young players should not stay in Europe, and should not stay in MLS. They should go to Europe and grow over there, to have more competition. That he feels that these players stay here because it's a commodity and things like that. And he mentioned Jordan Morris that he wanted to stay because I believe his parents gave him and his girlfriend a dog, and that's why he didn't want to move or something like that. He mentioned, So what is your?
Wow.
Yeah.
That right there summarizes U.S. soccer's problem. I mean, that statement alone.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
man, that's just what
but
the
I
hell
can
is going on?
And as much as I want to tout up MLS, it's one of those you can tell the difference between Morris, who's young, who started here, opposed to Christian, who started young in Germany.
Yep.
I mean, it's like this.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Well, okay.
Here's
Jordan Morris was never on the level of Pulisic, though. He wasn't, even at a younger age. He wasn't.
But here's my other argument, and I know that here in the U.S. it's a totally different beast because we put college on a pedestal here.
Yes.
When it comes to soccer, I don't care what anybody says. College is not the way to go if you want to play professional
College
soccer.
is a hindrance to player development and player growth.
Now, do I think at some point, once you get through an academy for soccer and get on a team, yes, go back to school. Do whatever the hell you want in your off time. Yeah. But if you want to follow soccer, you do not go to college. You go through an academy system. You do that. And, when I have kids, if they want to play soccer, guess what? You don't have to go to school.
Yeah.
You not college. I mean, because the college game is garbage.
Well, yeah,
It is.
I
It's
understand.
terrible.
But
I mean,
It's terrible.
Pulisic, I think, ended up going to high school in Germany.
Yeah. No, he did.
It's one of those that's why it's so much bigger over there. They don't put so much emphasis on going to college.
Correct.
As a soccer player.
Yep.
So do I ever think it's going to change here in the U.S.? No, because we add so much emphasis to going to school.
and the NCAA has so much power over.
Yeah.
Now my question is.
They have power, but not over soccer.
Well, but-
No, there's a good reason for that. But continue your point.
Now, I know, because I know there are some places where they'll actually, they'll develop the players in their own academies, but they'll have them like, I know Tigres does this. So they'll have them take classes, like they'll be part-time students, and so that way they can still earn a degree, but they'll have a chance to develop the players in their own academies. That way, in case that things don't go well with them, because with soccer, there will always the risk that you'll have a career-ending injury, and when that happens, okay, what am I going to fall back on? Because I don't have a degree, so, So there has to be a way where like the player, the young lad is able to develop himself. Well, sorry, I talked to Charlie Ward too much. But he'll develop their soccer skills, but also like his academic skills as well. I mean, there's got to be something's got to give for the best for the player. I don't know if do you agree or should I at least that's how I feel. I mean, I've seen so many cases where players have such a promising career, they dedicated themselves entirely to soccer. They have a career-ending injury, and so obviously they're not getting paid, anymore, and so they have nothing to fall back on. And you see them, like working, little part-time jobs, just trying to make ends meet.
I don't know. I still think you'll always have college as a fallback plan.
Yeah.
And I just think that college holds players back here in the U.S. Honestly.
Damn it, Josh. He's like, that explains why Germany players can't count up to 3. Damn it, Josh. But
I'm about to block Racker.
I've told you I told you months ago.
Wando is better than Pulisic.
Yes, his whole Gabe is nothing more than a professional troll. He's a troll on Twitter. He's a troll on YouTube chat.
Discord.
He's a troll in Discord. He is just a troll, and he knows it. That's what he's going for. But to go back to this,
we're past our break.
Oh, whatever. We're
No,
kind of
keep
rolling.
going.
This is
we're
a
good.
conversation that's actually good.
Yeah.
It sounded terrible. This is actually a good conversation. Forget those other conversations. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, right? College is a fallback. Now, for some players, it's going to be one of those things where their parents don't necessarily want to have to pay for them to go through college. I wish there was some mechanism that made sense. And at the end of the day, there's not going to be a mechanism that fully makes sense either way. But I think if you're committing yourself to be a professional soccer player, then really your pipeline needs to be going through an academy and then to a PDSL, a PSL, what is it, PDL team, like a Brazos Valley, or if you're good enough, immediately into USL Pro. Now, what I'd like to see from USL Pro is that they encourage and maybe push part-time classes on younger players of a certain age.
I know Toros does with Idea Academy.
Yeah, so I mean, the same type of thing. I mean, with the academy, use the academy as an opportunity to also get educations for these players that are younger players, because at the end of the day, if parents believe that their kids are going to get the education, maybe not as good a quality as say a Stanford or whatever, but still good enough that it's a quality college education. Approximately, you get a degree when you finish, whatever it may be, if it's online classes, whatever. As long as they're getting some kind of degree, that's all parents care about. And parents are the ones at that age making those decisions. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, they're making them with their kid, but they're still the ones really making those decisions. They'll push you one way or another. So it's on the academies to come up with better systems to push players that are in a position where they could play and are quality enough to play professionally, to push them and steer them in the right direction. We're still going to have college, and we're still going to have college soccer. But if your best players are immediately going to USL, which we're starting to see, starting to happen, then we're going to see more and more players do that and opt away from college because they could still get an education. They still get their time getting the education, but they're able to hone their craft for a few years instead of losing out on that time by going to college.
And not only that, you don't have to deal with the limitations of like, oh, well, you can't get paid because you're playing under NCAA rules.
And there are a lot of, granted, it's still only $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year.
Well, yeah, but it's better than nothing.
Exactly. No, exactly. And there's no college tuition that way. Mm-hmm. That's a win-win-win.
So, Sean, we're going to go ahead and cut the break. Where can they find me when we get back?
Cut to break or cut the break?
We're going to cut to break.
Okay.
When we get back, we will dive into some other, or we'll jump on for some Down in the Valley stuff real quick. You could promo your podcast.
You could do that thing.
Yeah, you could do the thing. And then we'll get into some other newsworthy stuff. One in particular that we have people chomping at the bit to talk about.
That one.
Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm. Then we'll have about 30 minutes.
All right. You're listening to The Peel on KTXF DB The Real, a Texas sports review radio network on via TuneIn. Download the app. You can also listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play Music. And also call in 281-849-7335.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Kyle Murphy, and you're listening to Down in the Valley with The Peel.
Welcome back to The Peel. Edson.
You grabbing, I was going to eat a pecan small. But okay. All right. Let's do this.
Go ahead. What do you got for us about your Down in the Valley?
All right. So this past weekend, Carson and I actually began our own spin-off with Down in the Valley. It has become its own full-length podcast as well. This Saturday we were talking about the game against San Antonio that was going to be played that Saturday. The bad thing was that because of the upload speeds aren't that great at my parents' house, I wasn't able to get the segment in time before the game. But we also did talk about the future of the Toros, what happened during the season. What should be done this off season to try to not repeat the season that just passed, because obviously we are out of playoffs. We did lose 2 games against San Antonio, so they have the bragging rights until next year. And so that one's actually uploaded. We uploaded it to YouTube. No video yet. We will be hopefully in the future. We'll start as things get rolling around. As people start, hopefully support us in this journey, we can start adding a couple different things to it. But for the most part, we also talked about as well, the interview regarding Bert Garcia. Carson and I had some different opinions about what he said, but in the end, we realized that we just want what's best for the team. And we also talked about the USL in general. We talked about the games that were going to be played for the last week of the USL. We talked about the playoffs, who we thought was going to be the champion, or is it too early to talk about a champion now? Mm-hmm. And so Down in the Valley we're trying to make it, yes, about RGVFC, We also want to try to get it to focus on the USL.
Absolutely.
As well. I feel like there's a lot to talk about the league in general, and just like we do here with the PO, where we talk about MLS as well, and the league in general. We also want to do the same thing with the USL and down in the Valley. We talked about
to be honest, I mean, the league in general needs it.
Oh yeah, except for the NASL. They need to die already. But that's a completely different story.
Right.
But yeah, so go and check it out. I'll be tweeting out the link, the YouTube link, so you can watch it. It is a little bit more than an hour long, which was actually pretty fun though.
They're following in our footsteps. What's the Twitter handle they can follow you at?
Okay, our Twitter handle is down in the RGV. And at Down in the RGV, we will be adding a Facebook page as well. Hopefully, we'll be uploading those to the Peel's SoundCloud, and hopefully also into Google Play Store and iTunes.
That'd be cool.
Hey, we do have a call. Victor.
Hey,
Victor, what's up?
Uh-oh.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Oh, there he is.
Hey, what's up, Victor?
Good.
What you got for us, man?
Yeah, hey, listen, I was listening to you guys' point about, what was it, the player development going into no pressure, Major League Soccer, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
along those lines. I don't know if Josh mentioned it, because I know he was at practice this week, but Corey asked Wilmer, what was it, about benching Tyler back in, what was it, around like March?
Yeah,
May?
it was early in the season.
Somewhere around there,
Yeah.
that New England Revolution game, and then bringing him back.
Yeah.
And Wilmer's response was interesting. Wilmer was talking about how there was no competition in the team, and that's why he made the move to Joe Willis. And because Tyler needed competition, I think, obviously, if we look at the results, we see the impact of that. And I wanted to add that I think that goes to show the evolution of coaches in Major League Soccer, as far as moving away from the Dominic Kinnears, the C.G. Smiths, the Bruce Arenas, to the Wilmers, the Oscars, the Tata Martinos, even Patrick Vieira up in New York City. And it goes also a little bit maybe hand in hand with what you guys were saying about just the coaching education in this country. I mean, you could apply that at the pro level, not just at the academy level. Although at the academy level, I think it's obviously interesting as well, because we don't know how much is being invested in these academies. We don't really know much about the coaches that are at these academies and how qualified they are. And they obviously have to do a lot into the player development part.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But, I mean, that was basically my input with you guys as far as...
And it's funny, too.
I don't know what other...
It's funny, too, because that is one of the number one issues that I see from a U.S. soccer standpoint at this point, that, player development is an issue, but we still have world-class talented players. Those players are still there. We don't have the coaching system in place to maximize the talent of those players. And I think it's extremely telling that the current rumors that are going around about who U.S. soccer is looking at for the next coach, the interim coach that's going to be around through probably Camp Cupcake or whatever that next camp is. They're looking at international coaches. They're not looking at U.S. coaches. And I think that, and it ties into what you were saying, Victor, that there's a severe lack of coaching quality at the lower levels, and there's no coaching development happening. There's no coaching pipeline development happening in MLS through USL to MLS and even beyond MLS. I mean, the only U.S. coach, there's been a couple of U.S. coaches that have gone overseas, but not many. And that, to me, is more disconcerting than the amount of players that are not going overseas and being successful. If we had coaches that were going overseas and being successful in other leagues outside of MLS, I could shrug off the player development issues, because guess what? They're going to be able to come back and give player development, tips and things like that.
but we're seeing it. Coaches from the U.S. struggle elsewhere. And I feel like personally, and we'll get into this offseason, and Victor, you are definitely welcome on the show for this particular episode. We're going to talk about the issues with U.S. soccer, with the youth development, with the coaching development, the whole 9 yards. And we want to do it as kind of a round table. So, hey, you're invited. But, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's, we were talking about it. I wasn't even thinking about it in terms of that. I was just thinking about it in terms of from a player standpoint. But at the end of the day, I mean, the struggles with soccer in the U.S. right now extend far beyond just player development, like you said. I mean, it goes into the coaching. And I mean, when you have problems of that magnitude, what you see is exactly what we're seeing right now, which is a national team that's incapable of beating a team away from home. Incapable of beating a team away from home. And it's not like we're talking about a team that's a Mexico or something like that. We're talking about Trinidad and Tobago. Granted, the disrespect that the U.S. showed them to begin with was probably a big part of it. But, it's just, I agree with you. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a little long-winded, but did you have anything else, Victor?
Yeah, listen, the other thing I just popped into my mind, yesterday also talking to Beasley, I like his answers too, because I appreciate that he didn't give us like a set answers. He was being transparent and he was being strict. And he said, with Wilmer, the difference is, and he's been here for Kinnear, he's been here for Coyle, he's been here for Barrett. He said with Cabrera, the difference is they know what they're doing out there. Every player has a role defined. They have a playing style. Whatever you may think of that playing style, but at least it's defined. They know what they're doing as players, and I mean, it shouldn't be like that. You know what I'm saying? Just a professional player shouldn't be telling you, "Oh, it's nice that someone is here, and it's clarifying our job for us, so that we can do it the way it should be done."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But again, I think that goes all credit to the coaching this evolution in coaching, I guess you can call it, if you can call it that we're experiencing in Major League Soccer.
Yeah, and
go
ahead.
Credit for the clubs that are investing in that.
But see, going back to the fact, we mentioned the pipeline. There's nothing in the pipeline, so that's why you get all this recycled mumbo jumbo with the Bruce Arenas, with the Seagies, with the Bradleys, because there's nobody with a fresh set of ideas, to come until now. When these teams are starting to take the risk and bring in people from outside, and I think that should help not only the level of the players, but going back, you have people that players that are gonna retire. And so they're probably going to be thinking of going into coaching. And so you get these new fresh ideas instilled in their head. Hey, you know what? Well, maybe this works. Maybe I can try to implement this.
Well, we see it, right? Because Davey Arnaud is the assistant coach. And, he played for the U.S. men's national team. And he's assisting Wilmer. And you see it. I see it on a consistent basis when Davey comes out at halftime or right after, right at the beginning of the second half. When he comes out, he's talking to the substitutes. He's talking to the starters. He's not just talking to them. He's pointing out spots on the field. He's pointing out players from the opposing team. And I don't see that. I didn't see that really at all last year. I know it was happening to some degree, but it's those types of things, those types of player interactions during a match, those types of seeing tactical changes or finding tactical holes that you can exploit, whatever it may be. You don't see it much with U.S. soccer coaches, and I think that's kind of what we're all getting at here, is that there's a major gap, and it's a talent gap, but it's also a development gap, not just with the players, but also with the coaches. And the further we allow that as U.S. soccer and as MLS to continue, the further down this hole we're going to go, and the worse and worse we're going to be in terms of being able to compete with the teams that are close to us and nearby to us in CONCACAF. Forget the world stage. Let's just get out of CONCACAF.
Yeah.
So, anything else, Victor?
Yeah. I guess the last thing. Look, I agree with that. That's a different aspect of coaching. You're right. We didn't see before. Now, I guess Wade, I guess we can kind of put it off to the side a little bit because that staff was shorthanded. That was an interim staff. But
Absolutely.
You're right. We didn't see it with the previous ones. The other thing I will add as far as, and again, the new coaching way we have in MLS, and another thing that I will credit Wilmer with, and I'm not trying to make a praise for the guy here, but it's how vital has his connections been?
Oh,
look at this roster. There is no. I guess that's the one part where when people were kind of aiming for Barrett to be the coach, Barrett could not have made these acquisitions. These were connections that were built over time. Wilmer working with FIFA, from his playing this in Costa Rica, and obviously his connections in Colombia. I mean, right. Give Matt credit, his due whenever, as far as completing some of these signings. But these signings, don't happen without Wilmer. And you want to extend it farther in the league, the same thing you're seeing that in Atlanta with Martino.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, hey, without his connections all over the world, the Almirons, the Martino, they don't come to MLS.
No.
But and so it's refreshing. It's refreshing to have this kind of, I guess, renaissance in Major League Soccer, and I think it all starts with coaching. And I think the same would happen if there was that investment in the academies. Now, again, part of it is we don't have a lot of transparency into how much they invest. We just get told, yeah, we're investing, we're putting money in. I know there was an article out there today that FC Dallas is doubling down. Good for them, but here locally, that's been one thing that's been missed. And
but they can
granted that
they can say that they're doubling down, but if you don't know what the start was, you don't really know what double down means. I mean, double of $1 million is $2 million. Double of $5 million, we're talking $10 million. That's a big difference. So doubling down to me doesn't mean anything. I mean, they could say we're doubling down, but that doesn't. That just seems ambiguous to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that, and then plus here locally, I mean, I would argue that Tyler. First of all, I don't think Tyler Derrick's an academy product, but he wasn't developed in that academy. That he came in too late. He was already, heading into what was 18, 19 up there. He's already developed when he came in. Guys like Memo, you can argue that they actually slipped through the cracks in the right way through that academy. I mean, who else have they honestly developed? And the USL
Salazar
thing. Right, but and where did that end up?
No, you're 100% right. I said that jokingly.
I mean, and I'm not trying to be foul. I'm just saying, if we make a team and we have an academy and we promote them to the first team, they didn't do anything at the professional level, and I think that kind of goes to show that honestly, you can just promote anyone, and that doesn't make them professionals.
Absolutely, 100% true. 100% true.
I mean, and listen, it goes to the pressure that there really isn't any pressure here. I mean, parents, we should be kidding these guys, right? Because, hey, if a parent wants to be, like you said, they want their kid to be professional, they're not going to Dynamo. They're going to, one of these other clubs in the suburbs.
Yeah,
it's true.
I mean, James Clarkson has been there for what? About 10 years?
Yeah.
What have they really produced? And
no, you're right, and I think that's also it's damning for the academy system in the U.S. in general because a large part of it is it's not just the academies, but it's also because you kind of mentioned that if a parent wants his kid to go play soccer, he's probably going to go play at like a one of the clubs, an ECNL team or whatever it is. But at the problem is that 90% of the parents that send their kids to those clubs don't intend for their kids to actually play soccer in college. And if they do, they have the belief already that their kid is this great superstar. And we're getting way out of track here, but it's okay. But I agree with that. And if you're sending your kid, it's like an after-school club, then it is. Yeah, it is a great environment. Well, and the problem is you get those elite kids, those kids that already have the talent in those types of clubs, but they don't have the competition level that they need to have because the other kids in that same club, the other kids that are in that same club, their parents aren't pushing them. They're not being pushed to be, and their parents actually think they're God's gift to soccer anyways. even though they're maybe mediocre at best. So the superstar kids aren't getting pushed, and I think we see that in the prima donna. That's what Alexei was talking about. You get that prima donna attitude that, hey, I'm the best at this club. I don't need to work for it. If that gets instilled at an early age because the kid has the talent but he's not being pushed, guess what? He's not going to push when he gets to the professional level because he doesn't understand how to be a professional soccer player. He doesn't understand how to be a working soccer player who has to work at his craft. The reason you see a lot of these academies that are churning out players overseas is because those players learn how to work at their craft from an early age. They learn how to be a professional from an early age. The same cannot be said for the Dynamo Academy. The same cannot be said for most MLS academies. Now, there are some, but most not.
Yeah.
So, it's a kind of a double-edged sword of we want to push the academies, but then at the same time, are the academies really pushing out the level of talent and the level of players that we need to be pushing?
Yeah, preaching to the choir, Sean. I agree.
I know you know, Victor. I'm just like I said, Victor. We're going to have you on in the off season for the inevitable U.S. soccer player development, youth development conversation that'll take 6 hours, or 6 hour roundtable. It'll extend 3 podcasts. But any other questions, or if you just want to throw it out there, where can people find you?
No, I'll leave you guys. I think I probably dragged y'all past y'all's break, but I do want to thank y'all for putting me on. I guess the only question I would ask is how, I don't know, I guess maybe you guys can come up with a number, at least just to, mess around with it. Albert Ellis, how much do you think he's worth? How much would you think, how much would you want the Dynamo to be willing to pay? I mean, because none of us know this magical number that's out there, but obviously it's set in stone, and if they want to buy him from Monterey, they can.
We don't know the number. Are you sure about that?
I don't know it. So, I mean...
Well, you keep listening, Victor. I got some words for you.
The only thing I hear is that, the organization thinks it is a sizable amount, sizable investment. I don't know what that number is, but listen, I think they'll get it back. I think from what we've seen in World Cup qualifying, I think Kyoto and Elise, they're about to become millionaires. I don't know how they go past the World Cup and clubs aren't going to want them. I know they play with Honduras. I know Honduras hasn't scored a goal in the World Cup, but these guys are some that Honduras has never seen, and I think they'll make their mark.
There's something to be said for that, Victor. So you can also, if anybody wants to, you can follow Victor on Twitter, even though he didn't throw his Twitter handle out there. I will. Well, not his handle. We'll throw that out on the Peel's Twitter account. So if you're listening, feel free to give him a follow later on this evening. But Victor, go ahead and keep listening, because I'm going to throw some stuff out there for you related to Elise and Kyoto, and then also hit on something that you said about Honduras. I think you'll appreciate those things. So make sure you listen for the rest of this.
Yeah.
We're going to hit a break first, though, I guess, right?
We'll
good. Thanks, guys.
We'll throw the number out there.
Later, Victor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So go ahead, so we can hear it. We'll talk that number and we'll go and break.
Okay, so the number that I've heard, and I'm not going to give you an exact figure because I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but greater than 5, under 7.
Mil?
Yes. So let's cut to a break on that. Let's not discuss it. Let's cut to a break on that because I got some more to throw about that. And
I had questions about it.
I know. I assumed you did.
Okay.
But it's also a great teaser going into the next segment.
Go. All right.
You're listening to The Peel on KTXF DB The Real, a Texas sports review radio network. Listen to us on TuneIn, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music. And DPs don't have a budget. Don't hit the salary budget the same way. Remember that?
Yes. Welcome back to the Peel. So we were. I don't know why I look at you when I'm coming out of an intro.
Welcome back to the Peel, Edson.
Coming out of a break, yeah. I want to give him some kind of
It's
love.
the charm.
Welcome back, Butters.
The Peel After Dark is back.
Is it 9 o'clock right now?
No, it's 8:45.
Oh yeah, we're right on track.
So before we went on break, we were talking about how much Elise is worth.
His okay. So the way MLS loans work, or loans into MLS, they all have. Okay, so if they have a buy clause or a loan to buy, if it is a loan to buy, there we go. If it's a loan to buy coming into MLS, they all have a set amount that they can be purchased for. No, sorry, that they will be purchased for if the team opts to purchase them.
Predetermined, agreed amount before the player.
It is the highest amount that will be paid. They will never pay above that amount because the team who has agreed to it has already put in writing that they agree to that transfer amount. So they can't change it. FIFA rules state they can't change it. It's contractual, done.
Okay, so let me ask you this then, because there's two things.
Yes.
We were talking about it on a break.
I wasn't
the first
done,
one,
but okay.
Well, it'll help steer this discussion for a few minutes.
Well, it was tied to that. But
Okay.
Yeah. Hurry up.
Is he worth that, or do you think he's worth more? We're getting a steal.
Okay.
On an MLS level, because we haven't had that many good, young, solid players that came in MLS at this rate. Normally, they've been older players past their prime.
I think we can look at Amaro Diaz.
Okay.
We can look at okay, actually, the really good, apt comparison is a Fabian Castillo. He went over to Turkey, and he made some money. He made some money for FC Dallas as well. There was a transfer involved. I think what you're seeing with Elise is what we're going to actually see more of in the future as more of these CONCACAF top-level players get found by MLS, scouting, quote-unquote, even though we don't have an official scouting network. Mm-hmm. As we find more of those players and bring them into MLS, I think we'll see more of those transfers out, and we'll see more of those transfer funds be reintegrated back into clubs. But Elise's value is tied to a few things. Number one, his age. Number two, his ability. Number three, he plays for Honduras. Now, you'd think that would be a positive, but that's actually a negative on the world stage. And it's not that Honduras isn't a good team. It's not that they haven't gotten far in the World Cup. Nobody cares about that. What people care about is how hard the Hondurans are worked in their camps. That is a big issue.
We've seen it.
We've seen it, and that's a big issue. When you sign an Elise, even if your league takes off 2 weeks for the competition breaks, for international breaks, for FIFA breaks, you still are going to get an Elise back that is not 100%, and the likelihood for injury skyrockets when they're worked that hard. So if he goes to a club overseas, if he gets transferred out in, let's say, 2 years, he gets transferred out in 2 years, we make $3 million for him above what the transfer fee is that we're paying to get him. We make $3 million in addition. We get probably 2.5 out of that. Actually, probably about 2.25, something like that, 2.25 out of that becomes ours. He goes off. I can almost guarantee you that whoever he goes to, he's not going to start right out of the gate.
Probably not.
And he won't start for them ever. And here's why. Because when you play for Honduras and you're being worked to the bone, you don't have the energy to push yourself throughout the entire season. You're going to sustain injuries, and that's hard to come back from overseas. It's a lot easier here because you're a top player. When you're overseas and you're not the top player, it's hard to overcome those injuries. It's hard to overcome the exhaustion and the fatigue. And coaches overseas may not understand that you're being worked to the bone with your national team. They may expect to work you to the bone as well. That's not going to work out for Elise. So I say all that to say his value is going to be determined by those three things. And I think his ability has continued to go up. I think his exposure has continued to go up. I think his desirability for clubs has continued to go up. His age, he's still a very young player.
Yes.
So the big factor that really determines everything besides ability and talent.
22?
22. That determines all that right now is, actually, I think he's 20.
20.
He's 22? Somebody pull it up. He might be 22. You might be right. I think we got him at 21. But the thing that really hurts him on the international market is the Honduras national team.
21.
21. Okay, so it's still not bad. That's very young. Yeah. and I've talked to a few people about this multiple times. Honduran players in general are hurt by that because the highest a Honduran player really expects to get is MLS. They would love to get European side, but just because you want to get there doesn't mean you're going to get there. But because of that, they're also willing to let the Honduran national team work them to the bone because MLS is the highest they're going to get. So once they get here, in their mind at least, okay, cool, work me to the bone because who cares? I'm not going to go. I'm not vying for, a payout overseas. It's interesting in Elise's case because I feel like he's a one-time, once-a-generational talent for Honduras. So we'll have to see. But I think he's probably a Dynamo player for the rest of his career, to be totally honest with you. I don't think we transfer him.
I hope so.
We don't transfer him.
All right, so to change topics.
Boy, I really rambled on. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it's good content. It's a discussion we're going to end up having anyway.
Absolutely.
And as the season went on, you've gotten a taste of what you could possibly have long-term in the future. Yeah. So it's...
In spurts, just like we saw this year, which is what really frustrates me. But, that's neither here nor there. Continue.
Andreas says Real Madrid signs a lease from the Dynamo in 2 years.
Hey, Football Manager, you can stop playing Football Manager.
So, to change topics, we are going to discuss something that has rubbed a ton of people in the MLS community, and especially Columbus, the wrong way. First off, let me read this statement. As most of you should be aware now, especially if you're on Reddit or if you're on Twitter, you know that Precourt, the owner of the Columbus Crew, has threatened to move the team to Austin, which would put a third team in Texas. 2 if you want to get technical. See what I did there?
What did you say?
I said 2 if you want to get technical.
Oh, yeah, Southern Oklahoma doesn't count.
Move them to Austin if Columbus cannot get a stadium in downtown Columbus, which, let's face it, the stadium's only 6 miles outside of downtown Columbus, and there's not a whole lot of room there. It's a college town. You're going to jump from one college town to another. But we'll get into that after I read this. So this is the statement that was released yesterday or the day before.
Go check that link out real quick because this ties into what you're talking about.
Okay. This is from him. First, thank you all you do for Crew SC. This is the season ticket members. Your belief in the club forms the core of our existence. We are honored and grateful to have earned your passion and support. We recognize today's update may be difficult to process, but please know that we are attempting to be as transparent as possible, given the circumstances we presently face. Wow. Although the club continues to address a series of historic challenges related to our ongoing business operations, we have specific concerns as we strive to realize our full ambition of becoming a standard bearer in MLS. The facts and findings surrounding the health of the club dictate that we urgently expand and explore all options to preserve the long-term sustainability of the club, including remaining in Columbus. Our ongoing exploration of options will coincide with the 2017 MLS Cup Playoffs, as well as the 2018 MLS regular season. Our return to the playoffs has made it possible through a bounce-back season, including a club record number of home wins in a regular season, and we have high expectations as a club, including the opportunity to secure another MLS Cup for Columbus. Looking ahead to 2017 with the composition of our roster, we have faith and excitement about our prospects in the 2018 campaign at Matt Free Stadium. The 2018 season will also mark the 10-year anniversary of the beloved 2008 MLS Cup team, and we look forward to honoring this milestone. We recognize that no soccer club can achieve its full potential without the passionate, dedicated supporters like you. Your support of Columbus Crew SC, our upcoming playoff run, and the 2018 season is greatly appreciated. Anthony Precourt.
Why are you lying?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. What a whole bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
I should have pulled up the statement prior to that, where he pretty much threw the entire fan base under the bus and saying, we don't care, there's no city funding, we're moving the team to Austin, essentially.
So it was it was all a huge tantrum. Okay, I want to talk about some things that were posted on social media regarding everything that has happened since Precourt has taken ownership of the Columbus Crew. All right. So first of all, we're going with the contract. So the original out clause in contract, it was that he had to have the team in Columbus for 10 years, unless they move to Austin.
Are you also bringing up the fact that he has a contract signed with. Was it Adidas? No, that's a league contract. There was another contract that only said he had a deal until the end of 2018, and I forgot what that was for. I don't know if maybe it was for the naming rights of the stadium.
With Matt Frank, no, it's not on here. But okay, here's another thing. So when he bought the club, he paid more than market value for it. He paid $68 million for the Columbus Crew. So which is a lot cheaper than $150 million you have to pay for expansion fee if he wanted to get a team in Austin from scratch. All right. So the first TV deal he also signs with the Columbus Crew is it was for a channel that was only available to like 50% of Columbus supporters, because that channel was only available with one cable provider. And then also, so he makes the Austin Aztecs their USL affiliate, with and then he's also on the expansion committee. And Don Garber, he always talked about Austin, even though San Antonio was the one with a bid. It always seemed that Don Garber always talked about Austin and put San Antonio like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Let me say something interesting. The mayor of Columbus has mentioned that there was actually very, very little interest by Columbus Crew, especially by Precourt, for stadium talks. You know how he was talking like, oh, well, we're leaving unless you build us a stadium. Well, he wasn't, open to speaking with the city about those stadium talks. And pretty much that's about it. But those are the major things that Columbus Crew fans have put out there on social media as to how the whole plan from the beginning, since he acquired the Crew, was to move him somewhere else, more specifically to Austin. So I understand how they feel like they've been stabbed in the back by their own owner, especially with a team or franchise so historic for MLS like the Columbus Crew.
Only because we got to move this topic on so we can close out the show. It's not a good look for MLS. It's really not. You want to keep these historic clubs that you've had, these clubs that started the league, minus, let's say, the Tampa Bay Mutiny. But you want to keep them where they're at. That's where you put your foothold to start the league to begin with. Mm-hmm. And it's not like Columbus has been a horrible team throughout the years. How many titles have they won? 2? 3? 2? It makes no sense. He's doing their fan base a disservice there. And so, like I said before, you're going to move from one college town to go to another college town that has a bigger nightlife scene and think that you're going to get a draw there. You're out of your mind. You really are.
I mean, why did the Austin Aztecs completely disintegrate? First they moved to Orlando City. They became Orlando City. And then when they brought the USL, they just disappeared.
Yep. Sean, I know you had something that you wanted to bring up real quick about the Dash.
Thank you.
Yes.
So Jane Campbell was voted something player of the year for the Dash. I don't remember what it was.
That's solid.
A Dash award. It was best player type thing, like MVP of the team type thing.
Yeah, most valuable or more
most improved maybe.
Something like that.
No, it was most valuable. Because
it was something. It was something about the fact that she had clean sheets and things like that. Yeah. And I think Amber Brooks was voted for the one who has helped out the community.
No, that was Janine Beck.
Janine Becky.
Sorry.
Janine Becky.
Becky won that one.
Okay. All right.
Humanitarian of the year award.
Yes.
Okay. Dash Humanitarian of the year.
All right.
I just wanted to call that out because I think it's awesome because Jane Campbell deserved it because she played
yes
as good as she could and did as much as she could.
All right, let's go to the Houston Hoedown.
Yes. I had it open.
Wait, I have another thing. It'll take 10 seconds.
Okay, all right, go ahead, because I got one.
Eric Wynalda has taken a leave of absence from Fox Soccer to promote his U.S. soccer presidency.
Yes,
candidacy.
No, speaking of that, so apparently, how would you like to have Landon Donovan?
Not at all.
I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
All right. Well, what we also know is that Steve Gans actually has gotten the required number of letters.
Please no, I don't need a pro-rel soccer president for U.S. soccer.
I actually would not be mad.
You can go to hell.
I wouldn't be mad either.
Yeah, well, your RGV is not getting pulled up to MLS.
It doesn't matter.
Not until they cut that tie with MLS.
It doesn't matter.
Real quick in the Houston
trying.
Hoedown, the only team that I do want to cover, Houston Fury, which Houston FC is no longer in Houston. The Hurricanes, excuse me. The Houston Hurricanes are no longer in Houston, so therefore I don't cover them. But the Houston Fury, in the same league, the TPSL, won drew their inaugural match for week number 1 against Austin Real CFC. So that's my Houston Hoedown for the week.
All right, cool. I'm going to throw one more thing out there.
Good.
I just retweeted this from my own account. So Frisco is running a Day of the Dead themed, I guess, for the match coming up this weekend.
So everybody dress up as FC Frisco.
And I made the joke that it's just like their playoff chances.
Dead.
Sean, we are at 9 o'clock, so I will let you tell everybody where they can find us, and then we will sign this show out for tonight.
You can find us on Twitter at ThePeel05. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ThePeel2005. You can find us on our own website at thepeellive.com. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, and you can also find us on KTXF DB The Real, a Texas sports review station.
I'm going to write that down for you.
I got to pull up the text message with all that in there because I don't remember what it is now. But you can tune in via TuneIn to the KTXF DB The Real, and they're going to be getting more shows in the coming weeks. So definitely, definitely download the app and you can queue up some of the shows and listen to them during the week. And RTV stuff will be on there because we're going to push for Down in the Valley to be added too.
Nice. Just waiting to bring the stream up. Also, do not forget the final match of the season, Sunday. 3 o'clock. Cube 57.
Sunday.
MLS Live if you're not in the area.
Yes.
We've got position to go for. Let's try to get that third place spot.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We have to win, and we need KC and Seattle to draw and or lose. Well, we need Seattle to lose, and then KC to draw or lose, and then win.
Can they just lose?
Please.
Well, that would be good too.
Yeah. But till next week, it will be Wednesday, correct?
We don't know yet because that's next week is the play-in match.
We'll let you know. We'll let you know when that happens.
Next week is the play-in match.
Yeah, that's right.
So we don't know if it's going to be Wednesday or Thursday.
So TBD.
Yeah. Again, if you do tune in live, if you watch live or listen live, we will be tweeting out and Facebook live. Facebook. We will post a Facebook post and we will tweet out the information about the time and date for next week.
Yes.
So please, if you don't already follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. That'd be great.
Down in the RGV as well. Follow us and be sure to check out our first inaugural podcast.
It was fantastic. I just want to throw that out there.
So I'm Justin.
I was going to say, who are you?
I'm Justin.
I'm not Butters. I'm Edson.
He is Butters. Don't listen to him. I'm Sean, and this is The Peel.
Signing off.